Sex with a narcissist. Well, I've been asked to talk about this subject, and I think it is a very important subject. Firstly, the first big thing that comes up that sort of is a problem with narcissists having successful sex is that they have no empathy. And then the other part is that they do not want to be attached to anybody. Often it can look like the narcissist is caring about their partner during sex, trying to make sure that the partner is having a good time, but that's only so that they can pin a little medal to their false lapel of their false self, saying, I am a wonderful lover, as another little star in their crowns. So narcissists, they don't want to join with anybody else. They are not interested in that at all. They just basically see sex partners as objects. They basically just masturbate and use you as an object in their masturbation, because it's all about them. It actually has nothing to do with you. It's all about how wonderful they are. And they get narcissistic supply also. So all of this is about narcissistic supply again. So it's really this addiction they have goes into all parts of their lives. They get a high out of you ogling over their body and how perfect it is, and how good they are in bed, and what a Casanova or a goddess they are. That's what they're getting their high about. It actually has nothing to do with you. The narcissist, for normal people, bonding during lovemaking, bonding with another person is one of the most powerful and profound feelings that anyone can experience. But a narcissist can never experience that or feel it. They will never bond with anyone. It's just about sex and nothing else. It's not a union between people, a bonding of spirit and soul, none of that. So Sam Vaknin had defined two types of narcissists. The cerebral narcissist, which is all about, they get their narcissistic supply from their intellect and their position in life. And then the somatic narcissist, who gets their narcissistic supplies from their sexual prowess, how sexy they are, what they look like, that type of thing. But those two narcissists are actually one narcissist, because you will find that a cerebral narcissist at stages in their lives can become a somatic narcissist, and a somatic narcissist can become a cerebral narcissist. And then you get some which was actually like my ex, that was a bit of each. So, and kind of used both sides a little bit. And usually when they do change, it's because of a situation, an external situation change or something like that. My father, now I'm going to talk about a personal story, and the only reason that I do this is because I think it helps people with the dynamics of what it's actually about, and it helps people to, even though my situation might be different to yours, it helps you to identify aspects of your situation. So I believe my father was very much a cerebral narcissist. Now, he was an intellectual, he was a high-powered executive. He was always very much into history and politics and always talking about that thing. But he, as far as his body went, He didn't ever do any exercise. He was overweight. He, at home, he didn't really take care of himself very much. I mean, he would shower, I suppose, when he needed to and that. But, I mean, often he would come to the dinner table and so he was overweight, like lots of fat rolls and that, sweaty, a little bit smelly and everything, and he'd have no top on. And you know, it was almost disrespectful for the rest, I found, personally, for the rest of us, because, you know, we all, you know, try to look at least decent for the other people that had to be around us, but that didn't bother him. So that was one of the aspects that I noticed in the cerebral narcissist. And cerebral narcissists, they will often, so they'll put on an act in the beginning to keep the partner and that, but they often won't need to look like the Casanova in bed or whatever, because they are getting ample of their narcissistic supply already from their intellect. So often with them, especially if they're in a long-term stable relationship, they will become, you know, sort of asexual, and often they will or only have sex when they really have to. All narcissists actually prefer to masturbate than have sex with one person. They also, all narcissists prefer to have more than one person. They prefer group sex and polyamorous sort of style relationships to monogamous. Anyway, so with now this is with my ex that I was married to, who was also narcissistic, slightly different narcissist to my father, also very, very successful, and I had well, it's quite good for this, but I actually had known him since he was a teenager because he was one of my brother's friends. I didn't have a relationship with him then, but I can remember the behaviors that he had. And with him, he would go through phases where he became extremely good at different things, and then they would disappear. He would never do them again. Like he became, during the 80s, breakdancing was very much in fashion, and he became this sort of wonderful breakdancer who'd like spin around on his back, and he would do little, at very well timed opportunities, do little performances for the unofficial crowd who would applaud and think he was wonderful. And he was also into bodybuilding. You know, in his last years at school, he sort of boasted about having the biggest muscles in his arms, and but he also had a side of him that gave the appearance of being the most responsible, hard-working sort of person that was going somewhere. So, and basically through his life, so like he got out of the bodybuilding and never did it anymore. As he got older, breakdancing, I mean, I don't think once in the 17 years that we were married did I see him do any kind of breakdancing. That was gone, even though he was so much into it before. Because obviously that was how, at that stage, he was getting his narcissistic supply. But he was, so he would like to be, he would get some of his narcissistic supply from the cerebral, his intellect. I don't think he was as smart as my father, but he was definitely very successful, very manipulative, gave the appearance of knowing everything, you know, knowing just when to speak and when to have his little chuckle. But he would also, and he did also for the cerebral side, for the actual sexual side, he did use the withholding of sex, also sometimes sex not very often, but then he would, he was in bed, he would also want to be the sort of Casanova type as well. So there was a combination there, and I think this can happen as well. All narcissists are autoerotic. That means that they actually glean sexual pleasure from themselves. That's why sometimes they are, especially in the cerebral narcissists, are latent homosexuals. They also have, sometimes narcissists also have a tendency to be incestuous, because that is sort of a way of making love to oneself, if it is the fruit of my loins, which is actually quite gross, but anyway. As I said before, they actually prefer group sex and a polyamorous sort of relationship, but also the cerebral narcissist will often just totally suppress all their sexual urges, and they will become totally asexual. The reason that they go for a monogamous relationship, even though their desires are for a more of a polyamorous relationship, is because the spouse is meant to be a secondary source of narcissistic supply and stable and there all the time. So when the narcissist is having a bad time, the spouse can say, well, remember when you did this and that, to lift up their spirits. Whereas if they went for somebody that was polyamorous, they are not the most stable people. They often don't stay with one partner, and the narcissist would be afraid that this person would not stay with them. So it's a bit of an oxymoron. So the narcissist then rather goes with the monogamous relationship because of the stability, but he's going totally against his sexual urges, and this causes all kinds of resentment. He then resents his partner subconsciously, and withholds sex from her and love, is not even attracted to his partner. He actually, and this can be with a female narcissist as well, although I haven't heard as much information on a female narcissist, and as I'm actually heterosexual, even though I know female narcissists, I haven't really been in a sexual relationship with them. So if you guys would like to add more information on that would be wonderful. I'd really be interested in hearing. But this is actually what happens, and it just ends up with a relationship with a monogamous spouse that is totally devoid of sex and lacking in love and everything else, which finally ends anyway. It can also cause the spouse to, out of desperation, to have an affair, and the narcissist absolutely loves that, even though they will totally blame the other partner, but then they look like the wonderful, long-suffering one. But it was actually them that drove the partner to look for somebody else because of the way that they treat that partner. Anyway, I hope this was helpful, and thank you as always for all your comments. Please, if there are any subjects